You know, honestly, the other day I came to conclusion about how everything sucks, and that's not me being even cynical. That's not because of COVID-19 or Trump or the fact that I've got wasps in my basement. One of my pinball machines broke down yet again. Work, Herman, work. Fucking goddamn it. No, or even the fact that my wife can go into labor at any second now, and then suddenly yet again I'm gonna have to sit through another labor. God, man, you know what I'm talking about. You know how terrible it is sitting through those things. It's the worst day for us, isn't it? God. No, none of those things. I don't watch a lot of comedy specials, but I saw Jerry Seinfeld's brand new one today. If you haven't seen it, you gotta check it out. I used to really love comedians back in the day. I used to love Dennis Leary and George Carlin, but now I don't, not nearly as much, because it's this will sound cynical, snobby, and snarky, but just the more you start to really learn about philosophy, I totally recommend that, or psychology, or any of that cool stuff, the more comedians just feel like poor man philosophers. I mean, every time you hear somebody yak about how brilliant some comedian is, and how they should run for president or something, or I swear it's as dumb as when you hear somebody rave about how amazing Chili's baby back ribs are. Do you know what I mean? Like, just please go to real barbecue house. Seriously, don't just listen to comedy specials, please. Read a fucking book.
Read a book!
All right, read a book about psychology or whatever. Do you know what I mean? There's better stuff out there than Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr. It's thanks to Bill Burr I ever got into One Punch Man, of all things. But I'll be goddamned. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld is not only one of the funniest goddamn men to ever live, but he is philosophically brilliant, and his philosophy is everything sucks.
Because I know that everyone's life sucks.
Everything sucks. He talks about nobody wants to be anywhere. Nobody wants to be doing everything. Everything sucks. And he's like, he's totally right. There's varying degrees of suck.
Your life sucks. My life sucks too. Perhaps not quite as much.
But in the universal scheme of things, there's probably not much of a difference in suck compared to your life and Beyonce and Bill Gates. Do you know what I mean? Bill Gates' life still sucks. Everybody still thinks he's somehow conspiratorially responsible for COVID-19. And well, Beyonce, her life still sucks too. It doesn't matter how many cars she smashes, over husbands. He's still gonna cheat on her all the time, right? So it's like, even though it looks better, everybody's lives suck. Even Jerry is like, you think your life, mine still, it's just universal suck. And isn't that the point of good comedy in the first place? And isn't that why Jerry Seinfeld is probably one of the best of all time? And I barely ever watched Seinfeld, as I'll get into. I've barely watched any situation comedies whatsoever, because the whole point of good comedy is at least we can laugh at it, right? Do you know what I mean? And if good comedy provides that for us, good situation comedies provides us the other thing we want most. We want to laugh, and we want other people to laugh with. We want people to not necessarily share our joy with, so much as share all our misery with, right? Because isn't that like one of the main points of having friends, people for you to vent and bitch to, and barf all your problems all over them and have them barf it all over you. Everybody just covered in puke, and it strangely makes people feel better. Yes, I am a little bit cynical about friendship. If you've been following my channel, you know this. But Jerry Seinfeld had many hilarious jokes on this special, but one of them was like how you're miserable with all your friends, but you don't get rid of them because you know how much of a pain in the ass will be to get new friends who just have a whole other set of problems that they'll never do anything about. And it was pure gold. God, check that out if you can. But look at some of the biggest shows, the biggest situation comedies of all time. Cheers. Sometimes You Want to Go, where everybody knows your name and go, bleh, bleh. Friends, one of the most popular shows of all time, is called Friends, right? Because that's what we want most. We want people to be miserable with us. And I hope this shows how little I've ever dabbled in situation comedies. I may have seen 10 episodes of Seinfeld in my life, so if I haven't gorged and binged off of Seinfeld, clearly I've never been one for situation comedies. But wow, God, do I love Community. Community is clearly one of my favorite situation comedies of all time because I barely watch them. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. The Dungeons and Dragons episode of Community is one of my most favorite episodes of television of all time, up there with Ballad of Fallen Angels, Jose Chung's From Outer Space, and of course the Rick James episode of Chappelle's Show. Community was such an amazing show, and it really, really touched me in my heart. Yay! Right there. It really did. You know, it made me feel for a sec, maybe I want to have a group around me for us all to barf all over each other or whatever, you know what I mean? And as a lot of us know, maybe one of the tiny silver linings of this whole COVID-19 situation is Community appeared on Netflix, people are binging the shit out of it, and maybe finally now we will get 6 seasons and a movie. But speaking of season 6, hands down, season 6 is my most favorite of all Community seasons, honestly, really and truly. I feel season 2 is, of course, the best season. You know, same as how I would agree that Mega Man 2 is the best Mega Man. However, Mega Man 3 happens to be my favorite. So yeah, 5 years ago, the 6th and final season of Community premiered. And there were so many things that blew me away about that season. I've got a little piece of paper right here, but just, I don't think Community needed Donald Glover as much as anybody might think, because he was great on the show, no doubt about that. But just season 6, it didn't feel like there was any kind of a gap in the study group for me, because frankly, just Elroy Patashnik from The Thing.
So how do we know who's human? Fuck you too!
And Frankie Dart, I mean, it just felt like this new evolution of the show. I loved these new characters so much, and I didn't miss any of the old ones that if Community kept going after season 6, I'd be like, this group is great. It's like it's a slightly different show than the previous iteration with the original 7, but in some ways I feel it was a slightly better and a lot more fun show. In the least, some of the best episodes of all time came out. And I think you could argue perhaps that this is the most potent season, because even though it was only a half season, 13, the majority of them are all A+. The majority of the episodes presented are gold. I mean, I think each and every single one of these is an A+ show. Ladders, the Lawnmower Man episode.
Jesus, what? Stop saying Jesus what?
Basic Crisis Room Decorum. Queer Studies and Advanced Waxing. Basic Email Security. Intro to Recycled Cinema. Basic RV Repair and Palmistry, if I'm saying that right. Modern Espionage. The Return of Paintball. Wedding Videography. Emotional Consequences of Broadcast Television.
Gay?
And all the little post-credit trailers were amazing. Some of the funniest, brutal jokes of the entire season, and all of Community. And for me, I really feel that the ending to Community really stuck with me, and I think it's one of the best finales that I've ever seen. Really bittersweet, really hit you hard. And also, personally, probably for a lot of reasons, where 5 years ago when it premiered, my first kid was born, and I was definitely in uncharted territory, so all of Community, but especially season 6, most definitely helped me during that time. So here's hoping it can do it again. Everything does suck, everybody, but every now and then, really fantastic people come along, really fantastic comedians, really fantastic sitcoms, or in my case, some really fantastic kids come along, and maybe make things just a little less suck, even if you have to watch yet another childbirth, geez. So, of all the other projects I've got going on this channel, and I've always got a lot going, I always bite off more than I can chew. I want to go over this season, episode by episode, here and there, if you want to join. I'm going over The Stand right now. I'm always going over a bunch of philosophy stuff. I'm always going whatever excites me and interests me, which is what YouTube is all about for me. That's what makes YouTube suck less for me. So if anybody wants to join me, ignore if you hear that plane going by. I'm Justin M. Bailey, and I will leave comment sections open if you want to leave comments, but I'm warning everybody here, I'm dead serious here. Don't leave them. I'm recommending nobody ever leave any comments. This is not reverse psychology. It's incredibly unhealthy for you. So don't leave comments. Seriously. I'm Justin M. Bailey. Thank you. Bye.
Gay?